Would like to talk to you guys about some of the accessories that I've gotten for my Model 3. I've already made a video previously about ordering one and the specs I've had. Since then, I've already taken the delivery of my vehicle. And before getting the Tesla, I've decided to go on Amazon, and everything I've bought is actually through Amazon. So I'm going to actually put the links on the description below for you guys to check out. I'm also going to be writing a blog on this just so that there's some sort of writing reference for everyone to look into. Regardless, everything that I talk about here is going to be from Amazon, so it's going to be really easy for you to order at on Amazon.com. And it will also be, everything's going to be on Amazon, and it's going to be on the description down below. So to get started, right here, I have a wireless charger. The main reason for this is that I've realized that the Teslas do not give you a right-angled iPhone charging cable anymore. Previously, before I took delivery, if I had taken delivery around October of 2019, they were still giving those out, or it's from what I heard on Reddit at least, and they no longer do that. So I've bought a Taptez Model 3 wireless charger. This one's the new versions of Gen 2, which allows you to horizontally charge them as well. They've changed a little bit the cables and the wirings for this as well, so it's a little bit different. I bought this after the fact when I realized I didn't have the cables, and I've realized I've really liked to charge my phone a lot. One caveat to think about is if you have a really thick case or something like a pop socket that you use to kind of grasp your phone a lot easier, it's not going to charge your phone as well because wireless charging requires really close connections, and oftentimes you're not going to be able to charge your phone at all. So moving on, the next thing that I've bought is a kind of a USB kind of hub. If you guys know well enough about just Teslas, they only come with 2 USB ports, so I decided to buy this one, so I ended up having 4. For this one, it's great. You get more USBs, but just notice that you get a lot less power output out of these. So I noticed that I could charge my phone basically in like a tenth of the speed if I plug it in through this USB hub. So that's something to think about. The power through this is a lot slower. I would not recommend using this if you're using a USB for Sentry mode or anything like that. Moving on, the next thing I did was get a carbon fiber kind of look. For my vehicle, I've decided to cover up the chrome. Instead of using some sort of decal or chrome delete, I just bought a kind of carbon fiber cap to cap around. It's simple to install. There's 2 3M adhesives on the sides of the vehicle right here, and then it tapes on, and that's pretty much it. It stays put. I haven't had any problems yet. I've bought that for a while. Next thing I did buy a chrome delete kit instead of finding a professional to help me do the chrome delete. Nothing much to say about this one. This is a great company. Their chrome delete works pretty well. It is pretty tricky to get the chrome delete to work pretty well, especially on things like the mirror. The mirror is the trickiest. As you can tell, it's a lot of curvatures, a lot of pieces. The great thing about Nikolai Pro is that they've cut them all out into separate pieces so that it's supposed to be easier to install. For me, I still have some problems with the mirror. I've primarily already done the kind of handles and the trim pieces. I haven't done the mirrors. I failed in passenger mirrors twice, so I'm actually planning to kind of figure out what to do with this one. But yeah, the mirrors are a bit harder to do. I haven't been able to successfully do those yet, so that's something to watch out for. Another thing that I bought was their decal kit beforehand. I bought this to test them out before buying the chrome delete kit, and I use this basically. I didn't use it for all of them. I just used it for the 2 big Tesla logos and the one the steering wheel. That's pretty much it. I didn't do it for the signal indicator because I bought the carbon fiber cover for that. The next thing that I got was more of in the care department. This is a leather cleaner for the seats to just keep the seats clean. Pretty self-explanatory. It's one of the best rated ones. Seems really great for cleaning up leather, so I bought that to make sure the vegan leathers in the car stayed great. I also bought a 303 aerospace protectant. This was under the recommendation of Andy Sly, a Tesla YouTuber, which I'll link in the description below. He recommended this. I did some research on it as well, and it seems that they work really well. I don't just use this for my car. I actually am able to use this for everything else outside, and like in my house, things to keep them basically protected while under the sun. Essentially what this does is basically protects the UV rays. So when you put on something like a dash, since your car's outside all the time, it would kind of get absorb those UV rays. So this protects it from it and protects them from cracking really easily. Another thing I bought was some just cleaning cloths. I decided that so for the Tesla Model, there's something to know about is that it's really sensitive paint. I might even make a whole video about cleaning the car itself because it's so sensitive. There's a whole kind of community behind it and some kind of like a whole I'm not sure what the word is, but basically it's a lot of kind of figuring out to get this right. It's a really sensitive paint. You can't take it to your typical machine car wash. You can, but you're gonna have to kind of weigh the balance of the fact that you're gonna get swirl marks because these paints are so light and so easily scratched. So what I did is because of that, I decided to go to these touch car wash that you do on your own. They have the best way to do it obviously is not to use even anything sort of drying towels. It's actually use a air dryer, so something like a Master Blaster, which is basically a way to use air to kind of clean out all of the water, so you don't have to use any kind of drying towels to actually clean out the inside of your cars pretty much. So basically the point is that let's just say you washed your car and you just missed a spot and there's still a lot of dirt on it for some miraculous reason. If you use a drying towel, you're probably going to introduce a scratch or some swirl marks. While if you use something like the Master Blaster, it'll just blow it off, so you won't have any sort of friction against your paint, which prevents even more. It basically has a higher protective layer between having any sort of touching and any friction between the paint and your dirts that you've collected while driving. The next thing I bought was just a car cover. I live in New York City. I do have a kind of outdoor driveway, but I don't drive as much. Most of the time from the weekdays I do go to work in the city, so I only get to drive the car around 2 days a week in the weekends, or if there's days off or some sort of work from home kind of thing. But I have a car cover just to protect the car, and also just to kind of cover it up from any dust usually. Also just so that people don't see what kind of car I have, just in case, because in your city it's pretty dangerous. And yes, I have a charging port. The reason why I got this one mainly is because they had a charging port cover for it, so that way I could actually kind of plug it in when it gets when I want to get charged while it's sitting there. I haven't really had the case to do so yet. In fact, oddly enough, this year in New York we haven't really got any snow much, so the car cover really isn't used for the weather purpose. It's more kind of security reasonings pretty much. On the hands securities, I also bought a USB and a micro SD card. So this is the micro SD card. I bought 128 gig. It's not a lot. It's good enough. I didn't want to go for almost double the price of 128 for 256. I think 120 was just enough for me. Just something to keep in mind is after a couple of weeks, if you are saving a lot of dash cam footage, when you click on that button on your on the dash, I guess, on the monitor middle of the screen, you click that red dot a lot. Not Sentry mode, but dash cam that runs while you're driving. If you're saving clips all the time, just know that you're just removing storage that can be temporarily stored. So that way, that means that if you continue driving, for example, for some reason randomly an accident happens and you don't have a chance to click that save button, it might get overwritten before you even have a chance to save it, because you've taken all the memory and you'll have the one video every single time, so it keeps overwriting that first video. You kind of get the point. So yeah, that's that. And I bought it with this SanDisk here. This is a SanDisk. Basically allows you to put a micro SD card in there. Pretty self-explanatory. The next thing I bought was this carbon fiber kind of thing. As you can tell, I am pretty into carbon fiber. I don't want to go for the matte black look. I think it's a little bit too simple, so I kind of want to give it a little bit dash of difference between it, so it's not all just matte and boring. I'm all for minimalism, but there should be some sort of difference in there, not just matte black, piano black, and then just wood. So I got this. Pretty simple. It's just carbon fiber inside, mainly also so that it protects basically the passenger and driver's door. I didn't want people to be able to kind of get in here and basically pull the manual emergency lever. As you've probably heard, pulling is actually going to damage the vehicle and the windows, that kind of stuff. Then I also got the same thing, carbon fiber for center console. If I have carbon fiber is in the door handles, I might as well go for it in the center console as well. Next thing I think is actually pretty useful is this cup holder hero. The reason why I find it super useful is that I when I'm driving I enjoy drinking a lot. And I don't mean alcohol. I mean like kind of drinking coffee, enjoying tea, water while driving. Especially when in your city you're just stuck in traffic. Just having a drink there and just having something to do while you're stuck in traffic is great. Have something to drink versus just standing there aimlessly with autopilot on driving. I mean, I'm already pretty lucky with autopilot. At least it could drive for me. But just sitting in traffic aimlessly is kind of annoying. But what this does is it basically covers up all of your kind of where you place things, and just basically be able to just kind of have the extra layer of protection so that it's always clean. That way, if in the future you sell the car, it's always going to have that kind of clean look. Next thing is this. It's super simple. It's something you can think about if you want to invest or not. If anyone here are thinking about doing PPF or that, this is a great start. This is a self-install. It's a DIY. It's a PPF for your door sill. Since you kind of come in and out of the car often, I imagine that that's one of the places that you can get scratched easily. I think this is a great start to figuring out if you want PPF or what kind of PPF you would want, because I kind of installed it. I had a difference. I had it before PPF, just looking at it new, and immediately I installed the PPF. Since it's new, I just might as well install it. It kind of gives that extra gloss and extra sheen. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it was great. It kind of helped me decide whether or not on the PPF. I knew how it would look like. That I had an idea that by putting PPF on top of what the car looks like now, it gives the extra protection. I have no scratches in that thing on the PPF so far. It looks great. Makes it actually pop a bit more, which is pretty great. And it comes with everything to install, which is awesome as well. It comes with the squeegee, your fiber cloth, and a spray that has basically the soap solution that you need to basically do it. So once you get it, you just need to bring some water to kind of mix into the soap solution, and you're set. Let's move on. Next thing, very important. Depends on preference, but I got a anti-glare, anti-fingerprint screen protector. Primarily because I don't like the glare, and I think that having a glare there is going to be really hard to see, especially when the car's under the sun. So I got a anti-glare one. The anti-glare one's great for the fact that it does stop the glare, but I don't think this is an anti-fingerprint screen protector. This still gets a bunch of fingerprints. I see my smudges on my fingers all the time, and it's just there, and I have to clean it all the time. It does not remove fingerprints, so there's some fake advertising here. It does not protect the fingerprints, so that's something you have to think about. You do still see fingerprints, but it's a lot harder to see compared to glass. Under the right lighting, you can still see the smudges of your fingerprint. That's just something to think about before buying it. Don't just buy it. I don't want people buying it because they think it was anti-fingerprint. There is still gonna be fingerprint. It's just not as visible, or yeah, so it's not as easy to see. So we're almost near the end. This is the last thing I bought. This is basically for the same reason why I bought the carbon fiber side door panels. Those stickers or wraps is so that people would know how to open the door. So I bought this, basically putting on the on all of the buttons on the car, so that when people get in the car, they know which button to press to open and close the door. Funny enough, I brought basically all of these items to me when I was picking up my car, and when I was doing this all in the car, since I knew car parked around right next door, and then I just basically did all of this, and then for some reason I accidentally put this inside of my trash bucket, basically when I'm packaging everything while basically I got the car delivered, I picked it up, I drove off to the next block to kind of get it off, and then did all of these. I applied my Sentry Mode stuff, my wraps, and everything. Did it all on the spot, and then there's a bunch of trash, and I threw them all in, and somehow threw this in as well, which is annoying because I paid $10 for this. I just threw it out, but yeah, that's pretty much everything I bought in preparation for in the delivery Model 3. I don't have any regrets for most of the things I've bought here. Yeah, pretty much there is no regret. Most of them worked really well. The carbon fiber is great. I know the piano black looks nice, but I believe it scratches really easily. So I like the carbon fiber. It kind of gives this car a little bit of uniqueness compared to other Model 3s. Also just because so that it looks a little bit different. Personally, I don't like gloss as much. I personally prefer like a matte color. So having carbon fiber is kind of nice throughout the vehicle. Yeah, I mean, most of the stuff I still remember, like washing the car, having the waffle towel is pretty life changing when you want to dry off your car. At least where I live in a busy city, I have to drive pretty far off to go get a kind of self car wash. I don't trust people to wash my car. That, and it's also pretty expensive. So washing my car myself on a touchless car wash cost me like $15, and I could do all washing the car completely clean and drying it with one of the air dryers. But sometimes there's just people behind me, so I just kind of dry it a bit and use a waffle towel, and it dries off really, really quickly. The main reason why I do that is just so that there's no water spots. I realized that some people have also recommended just basically drive really, really quickly, just rip off the parking lot of the car wash place, and basically all of the water jet will go away, because you're driving a Tesla and it's aerodynamics and whatnot, which is actually true. I tried it once. I dried a bit for the most part, and it did that, and it did work. So that's one way to dry off the car if you don't want to use any air dry. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's everything I've basically purchased since till today. That's everything I've bought for the car so far. I also done tints. I did a ceramic tint. In New York, we have really strict tint laws. Most people ignore them, but I didn't want to get pulled over, especially for this flashy car. I feel I would get pulled over if my tint was just a bit off. So I decided to spend a bit of money, get a ceramic tint that actually blocks most of the heat versus doing privacies. Not doing anything illegal, so I don't really care about the privacy part. So having some ceramic tints just so that in the summer it's more bearable, less heat going into the car is great. I haven't done PPF yet. I've been doing some research, which was great. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I've purchased so far for this new car. Everything I've purchased for this car, I have been using and I have enjoyed. And nothing I have gotten so far, I just said, yeah, I don't like it, or I don't use it, or I wouldn't use it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video about everything that I've purchased for this vehicle. Please comment down below if you guys have any suggestions for other things I should buy for my vehicle. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm, and also it would really help if you're subscribed to this video. I imagine if you're watching this Tesla video, you're probably someone that may be into tech or maybe into Tesla. Those are both things that I would be doing in this video. Just to give people some background, if you're still here at this point. I am a iOS engineer in New York City. I want to kind of make YouTube videos because it's kind of one of those passions I've done in the past, but never really spent enough time on. So in this channel, I'm going to be making Tesla videos like these, basically going through things I've purchased, my experience, and almost things like that. And also, especially in New York, I just don't see there's a lot of YouTubers in New York right now doing Tesla videos, so I kind of want to be one of the first ones there. So I'll be doing a lot of Tesla videos, but as an iOS engineer in practice, I want to kind of teach others how to code in iOS. I think iOS is a really big platform. Everyone nowadays, or most people, have iPhones or some sort of mobile device. So being able to learn iOS and creating applications for these small devices is a great skill to have. So those are things I'm going to be teaching. I also have a Skillshare account where I teach these lessons, but I pretty much post them here for free on YouTube as well. So if you guys don't want to pay for it, you guys can get it here free on YouTube. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video.